The global automotive industry, long dominated by Western and Japanese giants, has always been a symbol of innovation, power, and tradition. For decades, names like Ford, General Motors, Volkswagen, and Toyota have set the pace, dictating trends and shaping the future of mobility. Their sprawling factories and iconic brands seemed unshakable, their dominance almost a given. But this week, the industry was rocked to its core, not by Detroit or Tokyo, but by the rapidly rising city of Shenzhen, China. Once known mainly as a manufacturing hub, Shenzhen has now become the epicenter of a seismic shift in the automotive world. At the heart of this disruption was BYD's visionary CEO, Wang Chuanfu. In a press conference that captured the world's attention, he made an announcement that upended the industry's most deeply held assumptions about electric vehicles and their future. This wasn't just another product launch or a routine update. It was a bold, game-changing move that forced every major automaker to stop in their tracks and urgently rethink their strategies for the coming decade. For years, legacy automakers had comforted themselves with the belief that the transition to electric vehicles would be slow and manageable, protected by high production costs, established supply chains, and decades of brand loyalty from customers. But Wang's announcement shattered those beliefs overnight, sending shockwaves through boardrooms and analyst circles alike. He revealed a groundbreaking plan to make mass-market electric cars truly affordable for millions, threatening the very foundation upon which traditional automakers have built their empires. The financial world reacted instantly. Stock markets plunged as shares of established car makers tumbled, and analysts scrambled to update their forecasts, realizing that the old rules no longer applied. Suddenly, 5- and 10-year plans that once seemed solid now looked dangerously outdated. For many executives, the question was no longer about staying ahead of the competition, but about survival itself in a rapidly changing landscape. BYD, once dismissed as just a battery maker, seized the narrative and set a new, relentless pace for the global EV race, expanding its reach and influence at an unprecedented rate. The center of gravity in the auto world is unmistakably shifting eastward, signaling the end of an era of Western dominance and the dawn of a new chapter led by China's innovators. The industry now faces a new, more brutal chapter in the race for automotive supremacy, one where only the boldest and most adaptable will survive and thrive in this rapidly evolving global arena. Wang Chuanfu's bombshell? BYD will produce and export a $5,000 electric car, the Seagull Standard, by 2027. This price is less than half the cheapest EVs outside China and rivals many budget gasoline cars. For decades, automakers claimed affordable EVs were impossible due to battery costs and R&D. BYD's vertical integration and battery expertise have cracked the code, making mass-market EVs a reality. The $5,000 Seagull targets developing nations, threatening the last stronghold of gasoline cars. For Toyota, Volkswagen, and GM, this is a direct assault on their core revenue streams. BYD's move sets a new global benchmark, forcing rivals to either match the price or abandon the entry-level market. The industry is now locked in a high-stakes game with BYD dictating the terms. BYD's rise is nothing short of staggering. In just a few years, the company has transformed from a relatively unknown Chinese automaker into a global powerhouse, reshaping the electric vehicle landscape. In late 2023, BYD achieved a historic milestone by surpassing Tesla as the world's top seller of battery electric vehicles, a feat that few thought possible just a decade ago. By 2024, BYD had sold over 3.5 million new energy vehicles, outpacing many established Japanese and American rivals and setting new records for the industry. Its dominance in China, the world's largest auto market, has been the foundation for its rapid expansion into countries like Brazil and Thailand, helping BYD build a truly global empire that stretches across continents. At the heart of BYD's success is its mastery of battery technology. The company's innovative Blade battery is not only cheaper and safer than many competitors, but it's also produced entirely in-house, giving BYD unmatched control over its supply chain. This level of vertical integration provides BYD with a significant cost advantage that no other automaker can currently match, allowing it to innovate and scale rapidly. While legacy automakers continue to struggle with rising supply chain costs and logistical challenges, BYD's financial strength enables it to pursue aggressive pricing strategies and accelerate its global expansion. Investors have taken notice. BYD's valuation remains robust and resilient, even as the stocks of many rivals have tumbled in volatile markets. The company's powerful flywheel of high production volume, relentless cost reduction, and expanding market reach is unmatched in the industry, fueling its continued growth. BYD is winning not just on the factory floor, but also on the balance sheet, proving that its strategy is delivering results where it matters most, in profits and global influence. Detroit's Big Three, GM, Ford, and Stellantis, are scrambling to adapt in a rapidly changing automotive landscape. Once the undisputed leaders of the American car market, these giants now find themselves under immense pressure as the industry faces a seismic shift. For years, their focus on high-margin trucks and SUVs brought in huge profits, but it also left a gaping hole at the entry level. Now, that vulnerability is exposed by BYD's $5,000 electric vehicle, a car that's redefining what's possible for affordable transportation and shaking the very foundation of the market. Publicly, executives tout their brand strength and question the quality of Chinese cars, insisting that American vehicles are superior. But behind closed doors, there's a sense of panic and urgency as leaders realize the old playbook no longer works. Engineers are now racing against the clock to design low-cost EVs. They're tearing up old roadmaps, considering radical cost cuts, and exploring new partnerships that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. But legacy costs, union labor, pensions, and sprawling, complex supply chains make it nearly impossible to match BYD's rock-bottom prices. The weight of decades of tradition and obligation is holding them back. To compete, the Big Three may have to embrace automation and offshoring on a scale never seen before, risking thousands of jobs and igniting fierce political backlash from workers and communities that depend on the industry. In a bid for survival, they're even considering alliances with longtime rivals, partnerships that would have been unthinkable in the past, but now seem necessary just to stay afloat. The era of comfortable competition is over. The rules have changed, and now, survival is the only goal that matters for Detroit's automakers. The very identity of the American auto industry is on the line, as workers and executives alike grapple with what the future holds. The threat from BYD isn't just about one car, it's forcing a total strategic reset, pushing Detroit to reinvent itself or risk being left behind in the new era of global competition. In Europe, automakers like Volkswagen and Renault see BYD's $5,000 EV as an existential threat. The Seagull could devastate sales of popular compact cars, endangering millions of jobs. Lobbyists are demanding tariffs and protection, and the EU is fast-tracking anti-subsidy investigations. French leaders call it economic sovereignty. German automakers fear Chinese retaliation. Europe's open market ideals are being tested by competitive anxiety and political division. Car makers face a costly dilemma: re-engineer platforms for low-cost EVs or risk being wiped out. BYD's strategy is forcing Europe to rethink its entire industrial policy. For Japan's auto giants, BYD's move is a wake-up call. Toyota, Honda, and Nissan built their reputations on reliable, affordable small cars, now directly threatened by the Seagull. Their hybrid-focused strategy suddenly looks outdated as the market shifts to ultra-cheap pure EVs. Japanese executives are urgently accelerating EV development and slashing costs. The shift threatens Japan's vast supplier network, built around gasoline engines. The government and industry are scrambling to retrain workers and pivot suppliers to EV components. Japan's industrial future depends on how quickly it can adapt to this new reality. The $5,000 EV has ignited a global trade war. The US hiked tariffs on Chinese cars to over 100%, and Europe is following with its own duties. Governments are ramping up subsidies and buy local policies to protect domestic automakers. The era of free trade in autos is ending, replaced by protectionism and subsidy races. BYD is responding by building factories in Europe and scouting sites in Mexico, aiming to localize production and bypass tariffs. The game is now about global manufacturing footprints, not just exports. The industry is being forced to realign supply chains and strategies at breakneck speed. The rules of the automotive world are being rewritten in real time. The $5,000 EV will create clear winners and losers worldwide. Consumers in developing countries stand to gain most, finally able to afford clean, modern transportation. Urban air quality could improve, and oil dependence may drop. But in traditional auto hubs, millions of jobs tied to gasoline engines are at risk. The supply chain for pistons and exhausts faces extinction. Battery and software firms will boom. The shift will trigger massive economic and social upheaval if not managed carefully. Geopolitically, China's rise challenges Western and Japanese industrial leadership. The electric car is now a proxy for national ambition and global influence. The stakes have never been higher for the future of the auto industry. BYD's $5,000 EV isn't just a car, it's a turning point for the global auto industry. China's industrial strategy and BYD's vertical integration have forced a brutal reckoning for legacy automakers. Trade wars, subsidies, and supply chain upheaval are now the new normal. For consumers, it's a revolution in access. For workers, a looming crisis. The old ecosystem built on gasoline engines is fading, replaced by one centered on batteries and software. BYD has rewritten the rules, and the old guard must adapt or risk irrelevance. The industry stands at the edge of a new era, one defined by speed, competition, and global realignment.